So if you're kind of following, I got to this step, and it gets a little bit tricky. Some of you guys might be here as you're kind of thinking a is going to negative infinity. So as e to the x goes to negative infinity, what does e approach as you go to negative infinity? So this inside part right here is all going to approach as you go to that to be 0. Oops, I just did the limit part. So this is pi over 4 minus now the arctan of 0, and the arctan of 0 is 0, so I get pi over 4 for that first part. So again, if you want to pause, if you were stuck there, and see if you can finish the next one, go ahead. As I go to infinity, this would be the arctan as I go to infinity minus the arctan of 1, which is pi over 4. And as arctan goes to infinity, we already discussed that that's going to be pi over 2. And then we still have minus pi over 4. So now putting these together for my overall answer, pi over 4 plus pi over 2 minus pi over 4 is pi over 2. Yes, that was a good one. And that guy, again, is convergent. That one was really fun. Okay, so now let's see one that's not just involving the infinity and the negative infinity. We have that discontinuity with a number. So in our next example here, we are going from 0 to 4 of 8 over x dx, and we see, oh no, x equals 0, that's bad, and oh no, that's going to belong to that interval from 0 to 4, that's bad. Okay, so we're going to have to do something here. We're going to have to go and we're going to replace 0 now with a letter. So any variable that you want. So I'm going to choose it to be a. So now I'm going to take the limit as a approaches 0, but this is the tricky part. We have to say, are we approaching from the left or from the right? So if I look at this, I am going to that 0 from the left, from the right and going to the left. So I start over here and I'm approaching 0, so I'm starting at the right and I'm moving towards the left. So I'm approaching from the right. So we have to put a little plus there. And I will be so picky as I go and grade your quiz and your test. If you miss this plus, no soup for you, okay? You are going to be in tough shape. Okay, so don't forget that plus there. Alright, so now that I've stressed that, and hopefully you are good, we can do the antiderivative of 8 over x, which is 8 ln absolute value of x. And that's going to be now evaluated from a to 4. So this is the limit as a approaches 0 from the right of 8 ln of 4, and I don't need absolute values anymore. The absolute value of 4 is 4, minus 8 ln absolute value of a. So this is 8 ln of 4 minus, so now we got to think about the ln graph as I approach 0 from the left. So here's my ln graph, or oh my gosh, I just said left, from the right. So as I am approaching 0 from the right, I am moving this way. And what am I approaching? Negative infinity. So that ends up being a positive infinity for my overall answer. So this one diverges. Okay, try the next one. You're going to have a double whammy, and then pause and then check. Unpause and check. So in this next one, 0 and -1 are my discontinuities here. Those are the bad. Thankfully, -1 is not inside the interval from 0 to infinity, but 0 is. So I know I'm going to have to replace that 0. So pick any number that you want to replace to put something in between, because we have two bad bounds. Bad because of this, and this is bad because of infinity. So we need to break this apart into two separate problems. I'm going to pick one. Again, if you wanted to pick 100 Alex Wing, you go for it. But 1 is not bad, so it is okay to pick. Alright, so now we got to get rid of the 0 and the infinity. So I'm going to pick that to be A, and I'm going to pick that to be B. And I'm approaching 0 from the right. How many of you guys forgot that? I hope not. Now we don't have to put how we approach infinity, because technically there's really only one way to approach infinity. So that's why I don't say I'm approaching infinity from the left, because that's kind of like a common sense thing. Okay, so that's how we're going to set it up, and now we need to do this problem and this problem separately. Think of it as two problems. So if you just want to know the answer and check on your own, it's going to be pi for your overall answer. I'm going to do a U sub. This is a little bit more of a tricky U sub. Oops. Sorry. Okay. du times 2 radical x equals dx, but radical x is u, so 2u du equals dx. Okay, so let's work through on this one. I'm going to leave off my bounds for a little bit and just worry about the inside and then go back to it. Okay, good. I need more room. So we had the integral, the limit. A goes to positive 0 of dx equal x times x plus 1. And basically we had gotten it down to u is radical x, x equals u squared, and 2 dx equals 2u du. So that's where we were. So I'm just going to look at this part. So this would be 2u du for my dx. Radical x is u, and x is u squared plus 1. Those u's cancel, and I'm left with 2 du over u squared plus 1. So now this is going to become my arctan. So I have that 2 goes along for the ride from that guy. Woohoo! I have arctan of u over a plus c. So that's basically what that inside's going to become. So now let's go ahead and get it back with the bounds. So my u was radical x, and that's just over 1, so that's just radical x. And we are evaluating that guy from A to 1. So there's that part. So I have 2 times pi over 4 minus 2 times arctan of 0 is 0. So this part gives me pi over 2. So now we're going to go do the other side. Well, we've already got the tough part done. We've already done that integration. So I'm going to go ahead and get my limit. And we use b in that case. As b approaches 0 of my 2 arctan radical x. And now we're going to evaluate from 1 to b. So I just used all my hard work from the one on the left that we already found for that antiderivative. I'm using it over here. So this guy is b goes to infinity. I have 2 arctan of radical b minus 2 arctan of 1. So this would be 2 times the arctan as I go to infinity minus the arctan of 1 is 0. Pi over 4. Just kidding. Arctan of 0 is 0. Arctan of 1 is pi over 4. Thank you. So as arctan again goes to infinity, we are approaching pi over 2. So I have 2 times pi over 2 minus pi over 4 for this side, which becomes pi minus pi over 4. That guy was times 2. Just kidding. Pi over 2. So putting it all together, I have pi over 2 plus pi minus pi over 2, which gives me pi. Wow, cool. Okay. So again, that 2 was just from that 2. If you guys were like, what? So that 2 was from that 2. I almost forgot to bring it down. So that's 2, so that's pi over 4. Okay, this last little piece, it's kind of fun. If you want to know this p rule, you can do it.